Ryan Garcia doubled down on that boy Bud, and he really continues to question his legacy and that kind of thing. So in this video, I shall break it down. You dig? What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Ryan Garcia took to his social media, and actually, Terence Crawford, kind of questioned Ryan, if you will. And he says, Ryan, you do know that I am older than Errol Spence and Canelo, right? Ryan responded, I was talking about boxing years, champ. There's no doubt you got more in the tank than them. That is not a knock on you, though. You kept your body in top condition. But there's a lot of young, hungry fighters that wanted that work that you never let challenge you. Then he goes on to say, I believe Terence left more of his legacy on the table. Just my opinion. Undisputed don't mean anything if you know truly you didn't challenge yourself. I'm speaking from knowing boxing and speaking from the heart as a fighter, not just some random that can only see the surface level of the game. Yeet! What are my thoughts? Listen, first of all, Crawford's retired, so really, he did what he did. Great fighter. He had the window he had. He took as much advantage, I guess, as he could. It is what it is. But if y'all want me to explain my stance, I understand where Ryan is coming from, right? And I've said it long before Ryan is saying it here in this tweet. The big hang up with Terence Crawford in his career was the 11 years with Top Rank, and you weren't fighting the names that would have really catapulted you, right? Manny Pacquiao, he was a top rank fighter. You, Crawford, were a top rank fighter. I pushed for Crawford to get the videos are still on the page. That's why no matter, people could say whatever they want about me, my paycheck's still finna be the same. So enjoy that. The videos are still up. So I understand we live in a society where people try to back off the block and switch it. Like Israel Adesanya just took 4 losses in a row, but you got to remember there were content creators and people feeding you that Adesanya was the one to beat John Jones. I ain't never said that. I never believed that, right? So a lot of people, they try to rewrite history when it looks like the notions that they put out don't really seem to be like adding up. I never do that. If I said it and I meant it, give me my credit. If I didn't, then I won't claim credit. But Ryan is saying that Crawford let majority of the fights where like the young hungry lions in prime guys go by the wayside. I've told you that. Like Crawford fought a lot of people with various handicaps, right? And since I've already done it, I don't really need to keep going in. Because I picked apart every single name, right? I'm not going in that type of deep depth and detail in this video, so don't expect that from me, right? But all in all, for example, Sebastian Fundora looked like a muffin problem because I don't care even if you're Bud Crawford, right? I do not care who you are. Jerron Boots, it is Virgil Ortiz, Jermell Charlo. That kid, Fundora, is giving people problems because he's this beanpole, right? And slender man with these long 80-inch wingspan arms that know how to fight on the inside and definitely has some power. And even if you have better defense, Like Keith Thurman, early in the fight, he was moving. And I'm not comparing Keith at this point to Terence Crawford. See, I already caught some of y'all. Y'all, oh, come on. Keith Thurman is not the Crawford. Oh. Like, you guys are too emotional. You'll never be on my level. You don't see me being emotional. The point is, Keith Thurman is a competent fighter with some know-how and know how to move around the ring. And even still, right? And I get it. He had a couple like inactivity and not that many fights, but neither does Crawford. Crawford was fighting one time a year. Now, Crawford obviously has more fights than Keith Thurman, but he was fighting once annually, right? Kell Brook, Sean Porter, Errol Spence, Madrimov, Canelo. Every single one of those years, and I just named like 5, the Adesanya fight, right? He was fighting one time a year, so for like 6 years straight. Now he's posting pictures. I don't know if some of you guys seen it, and if you didn't see it, it's really your fault. You dig? Because there's one thing about me. I'ma always do my job. So if you want the content, it's like the dinner table. I set the dinner table. If you hungry, come eat. Because I'ma always do my job and put the content out, and it's up to you to follow me if you want it. I'm getting paid. I'm already putting the content out, so I'm good. So that's on you. But anywho, on my gram, boom. This is Bud Crawford. Crawford was shown, this is recent. I posted it when it happened 4 days ago. So not even a full week, right? And the boy Crawford posted these pictures, right? Looking hurt or whatever, with the unbreakable hair. I'm Mr. Glass, right? And he talking about surgery went great. Now it's time to recover and get some rest. I hate going under, but I'm good, everyone. So now we're finding out that Crawford had some kind of mystery surgery, and good on him. That's what you're supposed to do. Hide it, not tell the public. You're a fighter. Hey, that Drewski is funny. I didn't mean to click on that. I didn't mean to click on that at all. Oh my gosh, bro. That is Drewski got a classic. I didn't mean to hit that button. My bad. Anywho, I'm not mad at it. Crawford, obviously, he was dealing with some type of something that requires surgery. I don't know what it is. It could be boxer related, gallstones. I don't know. But I want to assume that is probably something like from boxing or boxing related, right? Because we haven't heard any other major like health issues or anything with Crawford. But, that's his business. So he hasn't put it out and made it public. The point I'm making is like he's retired and then now he's going and getting some type of surgery. So back to Fundora. It sounds like if you put all the puzzle pieces together, it sounds like Terence Crawford body started to break down. You are not 21 years old. 21, right? You are not as fresh and young. So despite nobody kicking your butt in the ring, your body still breaks down from like, look at how hard Crawford works, running up mountains, in steep stairwells, training camps, sparring adamas, all these things over the course of years. And Crawford looked like the type of person that I know these types of fighters too, where they're always down to spar. Yeah, I bought my bag. I got my stuff. Like he's like one of them. So you'll spar anybody at the drop of a dime, blah, blah, blah. You play basketball, so you're pushing 40, got some grays in the beard. It's no mystery that your body's probably breaking down. So what Ryan is saying, I mean, you fought Canelo. You fought Errol. Errol had went through an accident and had a detached retina. That is actual fact, right? That is a fact. That's not like, oh, I made this up. There's no denying any of those things. And then Crawford's like, hey, but I was I am older, right? I am older than these guys. You are. But you didn't start boxing at 15 like Canelo. So there are some differences. And that's where Ryan came in and kind of corrected it like, yo, I'm talking about boxing years. And again, I don't want this video to be too long, but there's a difference between boxing years old. Like Brandon Rios, he, whenever he retired, he could be whatever age, 37, 35. But in boxing years, he's old because he had been through so many wars. He got stopped by Tim Bradley. He fought Pacquiao. You know what I mean? Like in boxing years, you're older than your actual year. You're aging like almost in dog years if you don't preserve yourself and stuff. So Canelo looked horrible versus William School. That was the fight right before you. And to me, that was another reason why I wasn't too keen on Bud and Canelo, because I'm like, So yeah, you give him credit for moving up in weight, but in the ring, he looked bigger than Canelo, right? Which I've told you is the fighters aren't fighting at their real weight class. And then on top of that, we knew he was more skilled. So that fight really came down to, can he take Canelo's punch? And when it was shown that he could, the rest is history, and Canelo got beat up and cooked. But to me, it's a far cry from Fundora. Like, even though, again, it's going to sound crazy because people are going to, oh, but Canelo's done more than Fundora. He's a better fighter. You're talking about his whole career, skill for skill. Fundora, he giving anybody problems at that 154 mark, bro. Fighters are not used to punching upward and like not being able to hit a target, right? So the dynamics given his frame change immensely compared to really anyone else, because it's not like you're fighting somebody 6'6" at the YMCA when you're playing basketball and they can't fight a lick, right? You're talking about somebody who specializes in really inside fighting with this lanky, slender man frame looking like Groot. I am Groot. You know what I mean? With long arms that throw uppercuts and like punches that typically you see in shorter, compact fighters. That's going to be a problem. And you look at the Madrimov fight. Madrimov gave Crawford a lot of issues. Fundora, that would have been a great fight. Jerron Boots Ennis. Virgil Ortiz was calling him out. So it's kind of hard to argue with what Ryan's saying when I just named at least 3 people, right? For me, if we're talking about pushing, I think Carlos Adames would have been a tougher fight than Canelo or Errol post-accident, post-detached retina, right? And you started to see that. Like, remember when Errol Spence got the mouthpiece knocked out in the Ugas fight? Me, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if he was hurt. But everyone else, even my brother was like, nah, he was hurt. He was hurt. So you looked at Errol in the public's mind right before Crawford with Ugas. He wasn't active, car accident, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, even though he beat Ugas, the mouthpiece got knocked out and people think he was hurt in that moment, right? And he just stepped it up. Then your next fight is Crawford, coming off a 1-year layoff when he just had a tune-up with David Avocado. You know what I mean? Canelo, he showed vulnerability. Fundora, in his if you look at it, his last couple of performances, he's not really showing vulnerability. He chopped up Tim Tszyu and stopped him, chopped up Keith Thurman and won every round and stopped him. Jerron Ennis ain't really showing a ton of vulnerability. He's stepping on ish. So it would have been nice to see Crawford test the waters, even Jermell Charlo and Crawford, right? Because Jermell, he never been stopped, and he didn't go through an accident, and he's not coming off an eye injury. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Crawford